Hello everybody and welcome to the YouTube character profile upload of Rosie Webster. It's me, Rosie Webster, we're going to talk about today. My favourite character of all time. Love a bit of Rosie Webster. Miss her, bring her back. Hello, I'm Michael and she's Gemma.
Yeah.
Alright Gemma. And if you are clicked on this link then hopefully you like Rosie as well and you want to reminisce about all the amazing times she had on Coronation Street, which seems like too long ago now. She is a big favourite character of the podcast. We want to bring her back. And this is what she's done. When did we record this, Gemma? Back in 2016, I think.
I don't remember when it was.
I think this is about 5 years ago. It was back when she was having another little break, and we were saying, "Oh, I hope Rosie comes back soon." And then I think it was later that year it was announced that she would come back, and about a year after that she did. So what we're going to do, everybody, is play the character profile, come back at the end, talk a little bit about what she's done since, and basically just hope that she comes back soon. So have a listen and we'll see you on the other side. Bye bye. This week for our classic character profile, we're doing a character that I've wanted to talk about for ages. She's one of my favourite characters in the past, and I was a bit sad when she left. What about you, Gemma?
I thought she was good. I don't really have much to say about it.
Oh, well, we'll find out when we get there. She's Rosie Webster, everybody. We're going to talk about old Rosie today. Because
Old Rosie?
Right, young Rosie, sorry. Because we've had a bit of a... Catherine Tilsey's taken over as in Eva as the bimbo of the street, hasn't she? She's not quite the same, but she has her moments. So this is why we're going to talk about it.
Ditsy in a different way.
Yeah. Now, I wrote this Rosie Webster character profile like 2.5 years ago, because sometimes in the summer holidays I write them in bulk, and then we just never got round to doing it. But finally, here we go. So this is Rosie Webster. And I'm a bit sad this week that I've got my cough and my cold, because you know how much I like to do Rosie Webster voice.
I think that's the only thing you live for, basically.
I do, and Helen Flanagan voice hasn't featured on the podcast very much in the last 100 episodes or so, but I'm going to do my best today with some quotes from old Helen, because I know some of the listeners like that. But first we're going to talk about her statistics. So she was not her measurements, because I'm sure they're widely available on the internet at the moment.
Well, as a model, I wouldn't be surprised if she did have that information available for anyone who wanted to know.
Yes. She was born on the 24th of December 1990. Can I hear a Christmas story there? She was a child of Kevin and Sally Webster, the youngest daughter of them, and she is
the youngest daughter.
Did I say youngest? Oldest? First.
The first
daughter.
The main one, the only one that counts.
Yeah, the one we like the most at the moment. Well, she has other siblings. She's got Sophie, of course, the less popular Webster at the moment. Jack, who's her half-brother, Jack is a half-brother who's alive, and Jake is a half-brother who's dead. So that's a bit confusing already. Obviously, Kevin really liked that name.
So Jake, obviously really liked Jake.
Jake died, and then when he had...
because Jake is short for Jacob, isn't it?
I never really thought about that.
Similar.
Yeah, but no, we might get to that, but anyway.
Well, maybe he'll have another child and call it Jacob.
Maybe, just to round off the set. Yeah, just to make things more confusing. Anyway.
Sounds like a crazy religious family from, somewhere in America.
Rosie first appeared on the 25th of December 1990 and made her final appearance on the show on the 10th of February 2012. So that was 6 months before we started the podcast. She was in 1,245 episodes in total, which makes her the 43rd most featured character in the whole of Coronation Street. Although back when I wrote this profile a couple of years ago, she was 38th most featured character, so she's slipping down the list.
And she can't do anything about it.
I think that Sophie's one of the characters that overtaken her in that time as well, actually. Now, Rosie...
That's just sad.
I know. Rosie's been played by two actresses. Emma Colling from 1990 to 1999. So that was the Rosie when I first started watching, and she was a bit of a scary looking child, that girl.
You can't say things like that.
When she didn't obviously have many storylines back then, but when she was a bit of a bully at one point, she did a good kind of threatening stare.
I thought you meant she was really ugly.
I would never say that about a child on air.
I would.
And then obviously she's most well known for being played by Helen Flanagan, Britain's favourite actress.
Britain's favourite actress.
We got David Jason as the actor.
David Jason, she's got to marry him.
Yeah, exactly.
He'd be fine with it.
She would be. She'd get the will money from that, get the inheritance and that. Anyway, we waffle on. So I can tell these are old notes that I wrote because I used to write my character profile notes in different ways. Look, you've got old paragraphs today rather than handy bullet
fancy.
points. Yeah, well, in 1991 to 1998, she didn't really do much apart from, like eat fish fingers and baked beans and go upstairs to wash her hands. That was about as far as Rosie.
I would love that kind of life. Wouldn't that be brilliant if that was your life?
I don't like fish fingers or beans.
Wow, sorry.
If it was like chicken
nuggets,
mini Kievs and peas, I'd be all right at that. But no, as a good Webster child, her main roles consisted of going upstairs to wash her hands and things.
For years.
No, I don't like it. You could have some when
You do like fish fingers.
Oh, they're okay, but I would never choose them. She had in 1994. She ran away during a trip to Blackpool, and she went missing on a trip to Scarborough in 1997. But that was about the highlights.
She goes missing
first years.
at northern beach resorts.
Yeah, that's her thing. That was before they kind of gave her a new actress and thing to do. The main storyline that she's remembered for pre-Flanagan was when Greg Kelly was on the scene, which was Les Battersby's illegitimate son or something like that, and Sally was going out with him. He couldn't wait to get shut of Rosie, basically, or Sally, it turned out. He eventually hit Sally.
Do you mean shot of them?
Shot of them, yes. I could have got away with saying that with my bunged up nose at the moment. I couldn't pronounce anything wrong today.
But I've seen you actually wrote down shut of them, so...
I wrote that like 2 years ago. Years ago, you can't blame me for that. He took them hostage because he went a bit mad. Also that year, Rosie told Sally and Kevin that she was being bullied, but actually, she was the bully. Oldest trick in the book.
It's just horrible to everybody.
Yeah. She also went off the rails at home a bit, and I remember this. I wrote it down, but sometimes I write these things down and don't remember. But there was this little episode where she threw a girl's teddy in the pond at the Red Rack, and I think that was, like the boating pond where Roy and Hayley had their kiss and stuff. And I could just remember her glaring evilly into the camera. I don't know whether I'm making that up, but she was a bit scary, was Annie Colling?
Just like Amy.
Anyway, the actress left because she wanted to concentrate on her gymnastics. I don't know how she got on with that. And then Helen Flanagan was cast, and she was thrilled to get the part. I'm sure you remember. Yeah. So she started going off the rails again when she was a teenager in 2003. She demanded a mobile phone, and then she got Kevin wound up by getting her belly button pierced. What a rebel she was.
What a terrible thing to do, and it's not even in the 90s.
Yeah. Now, we got to see the early signs of Sally being a pushy mum that year as well, because Rosie starred in a local play, and that was where, Sally's controlling streak kind of started. Because Sally used to be lovely, and then Kevin had that affair with Natalie Horrocks, and Sally got a bit hard from there. But I think that the snobby Sally kind of came around that time, and sort of pushy mum, which then developed into the Sally we know and love nowadays.
Oh, I love her.
Well, Sally decided to enrol Rosie the next year into the Northern Academy of Drama. Rosie pulled out the audition, telling Sally to stop living her life for her, and Sally slapped her, called her a bitch.
What?
How dare she?
So horrible.
Child slapper. She probably had it coming to her, to be honest.
Yeah.
Now, Rosie started going out. She had her first boyfriend that year, didn't she?
Yes.
Craig Harris, who we all remember as one of the many
probably
families who lived in that house, one of the maids.
Did all Harrises die?
No. Two of them died. Tommy died, and Katie died. He had he escaped, went to Berlin or something, and Angela went to prison. But he started dating her anyway. Also that year, Sally discovered that Rosie was actually good at maths. Don't believe it. I don't believe it. Well, she got her enrolled into Oak Hill Grammar School, and this was again more pushy Sally saying that her daughter should go to grammar school, and I went to a grammar school, so I can...
Well, we didn't have a grammar school around her to go to, so shut up.
Okay, I will shut up. What happened in 2005, Gemma?
She became a goth.
Do you remember her goth phase?
Nope.
All in black. It was hilarious. I think they were just trying different things with Rosie. They tried she was a goth for a few years, and then they turned her into a bimbo model, which worked much better.
Unlike America, I think, especially in that era, and the 90s, it was very limited for choices and options for being crazy in crazy.
We didn't really have things like that at my school.
Groups. So there were goths.
Yeah.
And in our college, there were goths, and there were townies, which are chavs.
Yeah.
Then there was everyone else.
I don't think we had goths or chavs at my school. Maybe it was because I went to a grammar school.
Grammar school. They didn't let either of those people in.
But we used to call them townies, didn't? I can't remember whether you did or not.
Didn't your sister call them grebos?
Yeah, I was just thinking grebos, but then the word chav just took over the country, doesn't it? Now that's the universal word for it.
Working class folk.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Now, they, as goths, her and Craig, enjoyed listening to one of my favourite bands, Stench of Death.
That's not
the
a real
famous
band,
Dutch goth band. And they were also waiting for the apocalypse to happen.
And they're 5 years too late.
Yeah, 5 years too late.
Or were they 5 years too when was we supposed to have the apocalypse? It was 2013? Or...
There's always one.
The big Mayan
There's
one.
There's always one
that
coming. What do you mean? She discovered Sally was having an affair with Ian Davenport, who was the father of one of her schoolmates.
Called Gemma.
No, I don't like it. And then she lost her virginity to Craig in December, even though she's underage, because she's a goth.
Yeah, they don't care about rules or following conventions. They stuck it to the man there, didn't they?
Well, in a fashion. 2006, Sally discovered Rosie and Craig were at it again, and then she got forced to take a morning after pill, and then was reported to the police.
No, yeah, Sally reported Rosie and Craig to the police because, again, just being a bit over controlling. Maybe I think that might have been a bit of a controversial one. That story where Rosie was forced to take the morning after pill. But,
really?
Yeah, I think so. With
why wouldn't you want to take? I don't know.
Well, I think Rosie was like, you can't make me do.
I guess you're not allowed to force.
Well, yeah, forcing medication.
Yeah, but you are if you're the guardian.
I don't
know what the rules are.
I don't know what the rules are. Let's not go there. Anyway, Sally and Kevin ended up trying to keep Rosie and Craig apart. But
I would say you take this pill, or you have to look after your baby yourself.
Well, yeah, maybe that's what she said.
It's like if you get a dog, you got to make sure you walk it.
Walk it and feed it every day.
Yeah,
that's what you keep trying on me, isn't it?
Try to walk, you won't go anywhere.
Anyway, the pair of them plotted to run away to Berlin together, because where else would you go? That's
where, goth.
Oh yeah, the Gothic capital of the world, that is. Yeah. Anyway, she couldn't bring herself to leave the family, and Craig could.
So he went.
He barely had any family left by that point. I think he was living with his granddad.
They're all dying. No wonder he's a goth.
Yeah.
In 2007, she had a bit of a makeover, so she become more glam and sexy.
So she was. So if that was 2007,
like
then
Maria.
the character was 17. So probably Helen herself was a bit older. So it's like, right, she's an actress now. Get her boobs out.
Let's get her out to zoo and nuts.
Yeah, exactly.
Start her earning, get the sexiest soap actress.
This
award.
was was this pre Tina McIntyre days? I can't remember. Can't remember whether old what was her name? Michelle Keegan was getting the awards at the moment for this, but.
Well, she was very sexy and glamorous. Meanwhile, Sally was going for a job as Carla's PA, but for some reason Rosie gets it. But then she has to go back to school to take her exams and starts an affair with Fizz's boyfriend, John State. He was one of her teachers at Weatherfield High, where she was doing her A-levels.
Yeah, there were so many good storylines here. Lots of good memories when I'm looking back at the Rosie stuff, because I thought she was a great character. And, we're quite fans of the John State saga here, aren't we? And the whole thing where he bought her and Fizz both knickers for Christmas that one year, and then he accidentally got the present swapped round. So Fizz opened his tiny little
sexy little G-string or whatever, and then Rosie opened a massive pair of granny knickers.
Hilarious. But it ended up with Kevin thumping John.
I thought that was very thoughtful of him not to force his proper girlfriend to wear such hideous underwear.
Who was his proper girlfriend? Fizz?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, he probably tried to explain it.
I would appreciate that. If you had a mistress, I'd rather that you gave her the cheese wire knickers.
Would you? Okay, I'll bear that in mind.
But just also bear this in mind. You currently can't afford to keep me in presents, let alone two people.
Okay, I will consider that definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Rosie left John because he was too tired. She must have known that he was going out of Fizz as well, so she was obviously happily playing the mistress. But it all got too complicated. Kevin ended up going to prison for a bit, didn't he, for hitting John? Yeah. So 2008. So she got mobile phone footage of Carla snogging Liam, who was Liam Connor. I'm just trying to remember
all
this.
Dead.
Now.
Everyone's dead.
Yeah, because Carla used to be married to Paul Connor, didn't he? And Liam was.
Don't try
brother.
to think about it. Just go with it. She got phone footage of Carla kissing Liam, and then she was bribed to keep it quiet. And she showed Tony the footage after she tried to seduce him, but it didn't work. So she showed him the footage.
Carla was going out with Tony at that time, didn't she? Wasn't she? Tony Gordon, not Tony Jason's dad. And that's why it was secret stuff. So she showed it to Tony. And she tried, like you said, she tried to seduce him herself. So John kidnapped Rosie that summer, and I love that storyline because he held a hostage in his grand's attic and he didn't really know what he was doing. It seemed to be a bit of a spur of the moment thing, wasn't it?
And she was just like moaning at him.
Yeah, in fact, the poor living conditions up in his grand's attic. And eventually Fizz found out, and she sold her story to the paper, had racy pictures in the process, and also by the end of the year she slept with Gary Windass apparently, and I do not remember that.
A year of bad decisions.
I don't remember her sleeping with Gary, but I can understand it on Rosie's half anyway. And Gary was a bit of a grebo back then, wasn't he?
In 2009, she got £150,000 of compensation from John State.
Nice.
Why do you get compensation for being kidnapped?
Trauma, mental trauma and stuff. Think of all those model shoots that she probably missed out on when she was...
kidnaps people.
Well, you can kidnap me. And then...
I can't afford that. I was thinking more of getting a payout myself. Anyway, she bought shares in Underworld and got a flashy sports car, and then she started getting out with Luke Strong, but he was only after her for her money.
Yeah, Luke Strong was one of the factory bosses, one of the many forgetful factory people.
Tricked her into transferring £90,000 into his account, and then he ran off. And then she demanded more money from John, and says that he attacked her again, but it didn't. Yeah,
she tried to bribe him or blackmail him with a fake story, basically. So 2010, she reached the pinnacle of her career when she became a topless money.
A topless money?
A topless model. A topless model. Wasn't there a thing that she posed for a picture on the the nuts thing or the port scratchings thing behind the bar at the Rovers?
And people were taking the packets away and it was revealing.
Yeah, it was Rosie underneath. That was hilarious. Dear. She also wanted to have a boob job as well, just to get the really good jobs, but Kevin managed to talk her out of it by saying that Sally's got breast cancer and you shouldn't really have boob jobs because they can lead to things like that, can't you?
I don't see the link really.
Didn't your nan have something wrong when she was in her
because she had
younger days?
The pioneering breast.
Back in the 50s or whatever it was.
Yeah.
She was going to have an enhancement, shall we say? But it went a bit wrong for her. So good job that Rosie didn't really. Also that year, this is when Sophie came out as a lesbian Christian, and so Rosie thought that was amazing to have a lesbian as a sister. So she supported her in that.
Then she started dating Jason after she had a steamy romp following a modelling session.
Yeah, Jason.
Together.
Jason took her on. I think he had to take her in his van to a modelling session or something, and then the guy that she was supposed to be modelling with didn't turn up. So Jason then got his builder's bod out, and then they ended up getting a bit turned on and horny.
Abs of the week or whatever.
Yeah, so they were a couple after that, and I really, really loved Jason and Rosie as a couple. We liked Jason and Eva as well, didn't we?
Well, it's obviously he's got a type, isn't it?
He's the
and
male
the type
bimbo,
is not smarter than me.
Yeah, but they were both, because it was like he was a bit dense, but she made him look options. Like genius, didn't she?
Yeah.
Which is always funny. By the end of that year as well, it all came out about Kevin having an affair with Sally. No, what am I talking about today?
What are
Molly.
you going on
Kevin
about?
having an affair with Molly, and Rosie supported Sally during that difficult time.
Wow, in 2011, fugitive John held Rosie hostage again and demanded that she was a witness in Fizz's court case because she was accused of crimes that he had committed. Then Kevin found out, chased after John in a car, had a car crash, and then
that was the end of John
died.
Yeah.
And then in 2012, Rosie decided to leave Weatherfield to go to London, fancy old London, so she could be in a reality TV show. And then her and Jason had to split up, but they weren't really mad at each other. They just knew that they wanted different things out of life.
It was a bit sad, wasn't it? I was sad when she left. I really wish that they'd been able to keep her in the show because she was definitely a breath of fresh air. And it's sad that we never really got to speak about her on the podcast at the time because she left before we started. But there's always scope for her to get back, I think. Now, it was interesting. The reason why, or what the speculated, alleged reason why Helen left at the time was because she'd been having panic attacks on set, so she couldn't put up with the pressure of the Corrie filming schedule. But she had actually said she wasn't going to stay much longer anyway because she played Rosie for over half her life and she wanted to go on to do better things.
I thought it was because she got a fancy boyfriend who was rich.
Well, that might have happened as well.
If I had a fancy boyfriend who was rich, I wouldn't be doing my job.
Yeah, well, you just got stuck with me, ain't you? So
I know, but I could still get a boyfriend.
she never won any awards for her portrayal of Rosie, but she did get nominated for a few.
That's right. She was nominated for Villain of the Year in 2008 and Sexiest Female in 2011. But of course, nobody can beat Michelle Keegan.
No, well, that was the British Soap Awards, wasn't it? She, I don't know why she was nominated as villain. She was never that.
Well, it doesn't matter. She was nominated for those things. Yeah. And then she's got a quote here about when she was a goth.
Okay, I'm going to attempt to do my Helen Flanagan voice because, you know, I've got to do this. This is what Helen said about Rosie's goth stage. I'm used to being a goth. Seeing as I had to dress as Rosie for so long, it was all so unflattering, really unfeminine. Long back skirts down to the floor and horrible jackets. And also she was in the news at the time because Lancashire head teachers had to warn their pupils not to copy Rosie. They're not supposed to dress as goths at school. Also, I don't know why that is my Helen Flanagan voice, by the way, because I think this is a bit of a Bo Selector thing, isn't it? Because she doesn't actually sound anything like that, but in my head, this is what she sounds like. And in 2008, this is what Helen said about her sexy image. I like to look sexy, but not tarty. Luckily, I do pretty well as Rosie. She's a glamorous girl, kind of like a sassy secretary. So it's all pencil skirts, which I love, and a lot of low-cut tops. I don't want people looking at my boobs or want to be known for my boobs, but Corrie is a family show, so thankfully, they never go too far with it. Good
right,
quote.
Yeah, brilliant. So
she
in
changes
order
the tune
to
later.
follow up this quote about being empowered and not being too revealing, after she left Coronation Street, she went on to do such amazing things as appearing on the reality TV show I'm a Celebrity, Celebrity Superstar Spa, and Celebrity Wedding Planner,
She basically
which
got
sounds
any
like the
programme with
worst
celebrity.
bottom of the barrel scraping shows I've ever heard of in my life.
I think she was quite famous in I'm a Celebrity for crying off all of her tasks.
Yeah.
I think we covered that on the podcast.
She was also played agency nurse
Katie
Brompton in an episode of Holby City.
Or was it Kirsty? I don't know.
Or whatever. And then she did a topless pastry photo shoot, I assume in the sun.
It was in the Sun, and I tried to do a bit of research as a really good journalist and podcaster yesterday, but I couldn't find it. So whether it's been taken down or whether it's like premium rate, I don't know. But you know, we had the quote earlier saying she doesn't want people looking at her boobs or wanting to be known for her boobs. Well, by the time this shoot was done, she said that she has, and I quote, the best boobs ever seen on anyone in the world, ever. I suppose secretly, deep down, maybe I do crave attention. I'm grateful that I've got a voluptuous chest. It has a lot of power.
Mine has got a lot of power. I can knock out a hamster with mine.
Can you? Have you tried?
You put it on the table and then I was just to lower myself. I could knock it right out.
I couldn't do that, you see.
No.
I'm not with my
It
moves.
must be very strange not to have boobs. Anyway, she
is
also
so
appeared,
strange.
I remember this, in a music video for the Neo Kalashnikovs, which was that
It's like an arty
baby,
thing,
like,
wasn't it?
oh, baby, was it
You think I
Angel?
fall from heaven, baby, or something?
Something like that. It was awful.
It's a hilarious
It was
lyrics.
just terrible.
Yeah,
it was
you must
awful.
look that up if
How
you
did
haven't
they
seen it.
convince her? She must have been drunk. How did they convince
Well, she
her?
thought it was going to be a chance to go on and star in other videos and things like that, wasn't it?
Because of the Neo Kalashnikovs. Who are these people?
I've not heard of them. They're foreign. I
But
think.
she's become a mother now, so she's obviously much more settled and sensible because everyone who has a baby is a saint.
She is.
She
She's
gave
calmed down
birth to
now.
her child, Matilda, last June, and she is planning another one in a few years. I
Yes.
assume it will have a different name.
Probably. I would have thought so.
Yeah. Now, she was rumoured to return next year when Kate Oakes became touted as the new producer, whatever. What are they called?
Yeah, producer.
Showrunner, whatever. What's it called?
Yeah, producer. Not exactly producer, just
right.
producer.
Lots of people said that she was going to come back along with Kieran and Toya. And maybe she would come back because in 2014 she said, I think because I was...
No, I want to do the quote. Let me do the quote. Everyone loves this. I think because I was there for 12 years and I grew up with it, I obviously wanted to find my own feet. I still wanted to explore different acting roles before I go back, but I definitely would like to return at some point.
I can do the next quote because in September they asked Brooke Vincent about it and she said that she didn't think Helen would return, and this is her quote. She's just had a baby, so I don't think she'll come back. With Helen, she always wanted to be a mum, and now she's really settled.
Is that what Brooke sounds like?
That
in
is
your head,
Brooke
is it?
Vincent's voice, yeah.
That's Sophie, of course.
Of
Not
course.
the lovely Brooke.
No, Brooke Vincent's obviously fabulous in real life, but everyone hates Sophie, don't they?
So there we go. That's
That
Rosie
is
Webster.
the life of Rosie.
The bimbo-est bimbo that has ever graced the street.
I would like her to come back, would you?
I would absolutely love her to come back, and she would fit right in. It's not like, I don't know, like
I know,
I say,
she-
I want
she
Raquel to
totally
come back,
would.
but there's no point.
At any point in any of the storylines that Sally's had, she could have just walked into the Rovers in the middle of Sally having an argument with somebody.
Yeah.
I can just imagine her coming back now and being like, "Oh, Mum, I want to help you in your campaign. I can be your campaign manager," and standing there with her boobs hanging out, wearing this ridiculous
yeah,
outfit.
you're right. Any storyline she could walk right back into.
And then Sally's trying to do a speech, and then Rosie's like, "Oh, let me do it, Mum, let me do it," and then starts leaning over the
celebrity
podium,
model now.
going, "I can get you some votes with these. They've got power, you know."
The problem is, it's like, would they try and give her serious stories? Would
Right.
Helen say,
They
"I
would
don't
be
want to be, I don't want to be a
stupid.
bimbo anymore"? I think she'd go back.
She
to
surely
that role.
must know what her appeal is.
Yes, I think there's.
Otherwise,
no
she wouldn't have
denying
done page 3.
that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that'd be amazing. It'd be like how Sarah Lou's come back and she's slotted in, isn't it? Because they talk about her all the time, and Rosie they talk about a bit. They just mentioned her the other week, didn't they? And most of the time now, Rosie's job is not being able to come to family events because she's off modelling in
Doing
Dubai
stuff.
or whatever. But there's got to be a time when she comes back, surely.
Yeah. Well,
And, I would love to see that. Back
so
with
that
Jason
was
or something.
that was Rosie Webster.
Oh, there we go, Rosie Webster. Love her. Gotta love her, aren't you, Gemma? Isn't she a sweetie?
I'm not contractually obliged to love anybody apart from you.
Oh, yeah, that's true. She's great, though. Love bit of Rosie Webster. When's she going to come back? Well, she did come back.
I just want to say,
What?
given the time that we're uploading this, and what's happened on Coronation Street this week,
Oh, yeah.
perhaps our comments about Goss were not supportive enough.
What did we say? You
I
listened
can't-
to this
We
this
didn't. We
afternoon.
weren't horrible, but we weren't supportive. We were just like. But I guess that's true acceptance, isn't it? Not really caring.
Wasn't it funny
one way
when
or the
Rosie was
other.
a goth?
I think that's kind of what we said.
But the thing is, she just did it for
She was
larks. She did it to follow the trends.
Yeah, she was fashion goth, not a real goth deep in her soul.
Exactly.
Like Nina.
Nina's
is.
soul is dark and black,
But-
and dingy inside.
Just like Craig, she had a series of family tragedies that led her to being a goth, unlike Rosie, who just was like, "Oh, I like wearing black," and also Helen Flanagan's comments in that profile about how she hated wearing goth clothes were quite funny. She said they were frumpy and unflattering, but we all know
We've all moved on since then.
we all know that. Yeah, what went on after that with
Yes.
the modelling.
Yes. Well, Rosie came back early 2017. It felt that she was in the show for about a year and a half or so. Maybe it wasn't too long, sadly. Well, I mean, it was great for her because Helen Flanagan got pregnant, and she's since had 2 kids.
It wasn't related to being in Coronation Street.
I believe not, but yeah, she was back for a brief moment of bliss.
I've heard that starring in Coronation Street can make you quite the target for romantic
I hear that. I have
attention.
heard that. Absolutely.
Sometimes unwanted.
Well, yeah. So I think when Rosie's come back, I don't think she really got going with a big meaty story of her own. But she came back with like a drug story where she inadvertently smuggled drugs back from Miami in a case, and then
I love that.
That was all
Really
that kind of
hilarious.
linked to the Who Pushed Ken in a way, didn't it? Because like Adam covered up for her or something, or I can't remember it exactly, but he went and got the drugs and then he burnt the drug seller's money or something like that. And then he was a suspect in the Who Pushed Ken, and then she left with a druggy storyline when her ex-boyfriend Antoine sent Olivia. Remember, was the daughter of the guy that gets Sally banged up in prison.
Yeah.
He sent her to Weatherfield with a case full of drugs, and she got kind of mixed up in it there and everything, and basically foiled a drugs operation with this international drug dealer from the comfort of Underworld or something along those lines. I can't remember too much, but it was a little bit bizarre. I don't know why they decided to embroil Rosie not once but twice with drugs. It didn't. I don't never
Interestingly-
really felt like it matched her character.
Interestingly enough, Rosie Webster is the only character in Coronation Street upon which drugs have no biological effect.
Is that true? Is it?
It is true because you can't get more spaced out than she is already.
Very, very true. Well, she did that, and then she had that weird scene where she went on. Was it Good Morning Britain or something? It was her
really
and
cringe.
Gemma and Craig who
Yeah.
were all involved
What
in
was
taking
what
this
was that
guy
for?
down. Well, it was
for the drugs
for the
thing.
drugs thing,
Is
and
that
then she got
something that they do on.
apparently,
Okay.
and then she got spotted, talent spotted, and has been whisked away to Japan to be a game show host or something, or a shower. Look what you could have won, sort of woman, and that's where she's been ever since.
They like that kind of thing in Japan. They really like doing reality shows with lots of
stroking. She's a prize stroker, isn't she?
Oh, nice.
And she must love it because nearly 3 years later, she's still doing it. I mean,
I don't imagine that she's old by Japanese standards. She's a Christmas cake for sure.
You reckon? Is that right? So she started off with drugs, ended in drugs. There's a little bit of trying to help Sally out when she had hearts delivered through the post, pig's hearts, and. But no, she never really got going. I remember there was a couple of great scenes that she had with Gemma, and I think that those two... Well, Gemma's not really a bimbo, is she? She's just thick, basically. And they work really nicely in scenes together. It's a shame that we didn't get to see more of that.
It's funny because there definitely has to be an element of sexiness for you to be a bimbo, because Emma's not a bimbo either.
Oh, I don't know. Ditzy. I'd say that she is a little bit.
No, she's ditzy. I think we're talking about 3 different types of women here. We're talking about thickos, Gemma. We're talking about ditzies, which are like Emma. And then we're talking about bimbos, which are like Rosie.
Yeah.
And it's a spectrum of being sexy that kind of puts you into whichever category.
Well, I think that Emma's quite lovely, actually.
She's not, but she's not provocative, is she?
She didn't get her boobs out.
No,
like
she does
Rosie
not.
Webster.
She does not.
No. Well, hopefully Rosie Webster will live to get her boobs out another day on Coronation Street, because that lawyer's office in Coronation Street has been sorely missing her since she moved out to Japan.
Was supposed to be the administrative assistant now.
Yeah.
She's buggered off.
No fun at all.
Rosie was great working there.
She was awesome, and I hope to see her soon. Well,
last time she was after, in like 2018, she was after Imran. So
yes, she was, wasn't she? I
wonder.
Oh, the cat on the
there could be a little bit of a fight between her and Toya over Imran.
I would think that would be amazing to watch.
Whoever has a pillow with his face printed on it, I think wins.
Helen Flanagan has said that she wants to come back.
Who?
Helen Flanagan has said that she wants to come back. It was, I think, last time I saw something mentioned was like autumn last year.
Can I just say something though?
What?
I'm going to say that practically every single ex-Coronation Street star, unless they crapped all over the programme or they got fired, is going to have some quote somewhere in the press that says, so-and-so considering return to Coronation Street. Because they'll always get asked, and they don't want to burn their bridges, so they'll always say, oh yeah, I'd definitely consider it if the right story came along.
I don't know how it works with maternity cases like this, though. Like, the way she's talking, she's
cases,
like... Well, yeah, cases of employment.
Maternity leave.
Is she entitled to come back whenever she wants? I don't know.
I'll explain it to you if you like. So in the UK, in England specifically, because I don't know different laws for different countries, but you have a year of maternity leave, and you can return to your post after that year is up, but I don't think that they are legally obliged to hold your post open past that date.
Okay, so you can't totter in on your high heels across the cobbles.
No, you're not legally... You can't just come back like 5 years later and go, all right, done it now.
You got a story for me?
No, it doesn't work like that. But
that's a shame.
and also your pay gets like halved every few months.
That's all right, she's getting
the
out of football, she didn't need to worry about that.
Of your maternity leave in England, you are not paid anything. But your post remains open for you should you wish to return.
Yeah. Well, she has been very, very busy since, hasn't she? She's been doing her mummying. She's been doing her little bit of side businesses. She's been doing her underwear stuff. And but I would very much like to see her on Coronation Street again, if I haven't made that clear already. So fingers crossed.
One thing that we mentioned quite a lot in the profile, the original one, was her powerful boobs.
She does. Her boobs have a lot of power.
So also now, not only are they powerful to entice men and ladies who like boobs, but also they feed children.
I know.
What power and majesty.
Multi-talented.
That bust does a lot of work.
Yeah.
So bring it back, that's what I say. She spoke about it first. She's the one that brought it up. Nobody asked her anything about her boobs, as far as I'm concerned. Well, I certainly didn't. I know far too much about them.
I think we're straying too far away from Rosie into Helen Flanagan territory here, just because she's such an interesting person. So I believe. And I think that Coronation
lovely.
Street is sorely
Listen,
missing something, or maybe a couple of things, since she's not been here.
I'll say about Helen Flanagan is we have heard from people who've worked with her that she is absolutely
That
lovely.
is very, very true, actually.
This is
We
new
have heard
information
that.
we didn't get told, we didn't know this when we originally recorded it. We have heard that she is a precious, beautiful person who is lovely and just very sweet.
Yes, we have spoken to people
So-
who have got first-hand experience of how
Big
lovely
up.
she is.
Big up the Hells.
She's great.
Yeah.
She's great. She's our podcast mascot.
She is.
On the cast. She just doesn't realise.
She doesn't know
Anyway,
it. She's so beautiful and wonderful.
that is it, everybody. Hope you enjoyed your little walk down memory lane there of Rosie Webster. Hopefully we'll be able to talk about her again on the podcast soon.
Maybe.
And, maybe.
Listen, last time we did the profile,
Yeah.
she came back that same year.
That's very, very true. We made it happen.
So we manifested that into
Yes.
the universe. So let's just manifest. If you're listening to this,
back
YouTube
Rosie.
person, manifest with us right now for her to return before the end of 2021.
Or at least, announce the comeback.
Yeah,
before
that's
the end
right.
of
Announce it.
2021.
Announce
That'd
it.
be
Okay, we don't want to be greedy.
Right. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Thank you for listening. Ta-ra.